It's very dear to me, the issue of gay marriage, or as I like to call it, marriage. You know, because I had lunch this afternoon, not gay lunch. I parked my car. I didn't gay park it. This is a quote by Liz Feldman, and she's an American writer and comedian. And yes, she's meant to entertain and be funny, but this quote, this witty statement, captures the very essence of what I'd like to talk about in this article, in this speech. I'm here to convince you that the issue of gay marriage is not as black and white as the media makes it seem. It's not too eccentric, extremist, liberal versus conservative argument as the American society seems to make it. It's a much more level issue, something that's much more practical than what we make it seem. So I thought a lot about my credentials to speak on this topic and what I might say, whether I was a dear friend to many gays or something along those lines. But I think the most impactful credential I can say that I have is that I'm an American with the will to fight for the American dream, a proponent of the American dream. I've been raised in this society, I'm proud of it, and I'd like to see it progress in such a way that is beneficial to the rest of America. I want to talk a little bit about gay marriage and the issue itself, some of the effects, both personal and financial, that it has on people, and then what makes it so complicated, and how the media and religion play such a big role in that. According to CNN, 33 states of the 50 United States have laws saying that gay marriage is banned, same-sex marriage is banned. That's 66% of our nation has taken the time to sit down, using government resources, government people, paying government employees to write laws that prohibit rights. Think about that for a second. That's kind of contradictory to the American dream, isn't it? Because a quick Google search of the American dream is going to return the definition that, quote, it's the traditional social ideas of the U.S., such as equality, democracy, and material prosperity. So we see equality, this is personal feelings, personal emotions, the feeling of being equaled, and then material benefits. So this is financial aspects. Some of the effects that these might have on Americans, a New York Times article published in October of 2009 had a very interesting study that showed that same-sex couples, over the course of their lifetime, having been denied marriage benefits, will incur about $41,196 to $467,562 more per year than a traditional marriage, heterosexual marriage, would, simply because of financial impacts. This can be because of family insurance plans that they're denied, taxation and inheritance rights, retirements, pensions. All of these have a major effect on these people's lives. And that's crazy. That's not a personal issue. That's not something that you could debate on. That's a fact, that having to spend that much more money simply because you're denied, somebody has gone out of your way to deny a right, is absolutely absurd. Another article done by The Atlantic, the author was actually gay, but he talked very openly about the subject, and it was really interesting. He talked about how being against gay marriage doesn't make you a homophobe, and this is kind of the point I'd like to lead into, is that there are many people out there that aren't full-on supporters of gay marriage, but they're not scared of gays, which is what homophobic means, and they're not necessarily against it either. They just don't feel comfortable fully supporting it, but they're not the extremists that are going to go out and fight against it either. This author also said, "My gayness is not the most fundamental aspect of my identity. It seems to me that somebody could ideologically disapprove of my sexual expression while simultaneously loving and affirming my larger identity." And so this is what I'd like to lead into with why this problem is so complicated in America today. We make it so black and white. The media does such eccentric things by targeting groups of people. So in a parallel plot, I'd like to go back to the Tucson shooting, and the article of Time magazine immediately following the Tucson shooting. This was January 24th, 2011. The cover of that magazine was the shooter himself. It was a black and red image, the really scary-looking mugshot of the criminal of the man that shot Representative Gabby Giffords. And so here we are, giving the man that did this horrible deed so much attention by thrusting him all over into the American society. And this is the same thing we do on the issue of gay marriage. We glorify people that are against it and make people that are for it look like gods in some cases in liberal news sources, or the other way around in conservative news sources. So the Westboro Baptist Church for example, is an organization that is openly devoted to being against gay marriage in any way they can. They've picketed soldiers' funerals saying that God hates fags and all these other horrible things that they've done to people that have absolutely nothing to do with the issue. So the media has blown it way out of proportion. There's a lot of middle ground. I'd like to, in conclusion, hopefully make people realize that America is not so two-sided as we make it out to be. There's not just conservatives versus liberals, extremists versus nonconformists. You know, President Barack Obama, this was one of his original quotes when he first became president. He said, "I believe that marriage is between a man and a woman. I'm not in favor of gay marriage, but when you start playing around with constitutions just to prohibit somebody who cares about another person, it just seems to me that's not what America's about. Usually our constitutions expand liberties. They don't contract them." So I'd like to leave you with that. Think about the American dream. Think about the people. Not necessarily the extremists, those for it or against it, but think about the fact that we are wasting so much time construing our rights when we could very easily leave it alone and not make an issue about it.